आज मैं आपको मिलाने वाला हूँ रियल लाइफ जॉन विक से। इस शख्स से मैं जब मिला था एक प्रेसी हॉल के इवेंट में एंड आई वॉज इम्प्रेस्ड। ये अपने आप में एक कमाल की शख्सियत है। आपने शायद ही इनके ऐसा किसी और को देखा होगा या सुना होगा। आज मैं आपको मिलाने वाला हूँ सुजीत सर से।
Define myself as a security industry professional. Okay. Private military corporations are involved in lot of military and semi-military
Yes.
occupations. The weapon is for self-protection. Not at all easy to lay hands on a weapon or a firearm.
Yeah.
So that's very one good thing. So when I'm protecting my VIP, and the weapon is to protect myself more than my VIP. You know what we bodyguards are called as? We are called as bulletproof.
Okay. Hi Sudhir sir, welcome to
Hello.
Airsoft India podcast and thank you so much कि आपने इतने बिजी स्केड्यूल से टाइम निकाल करके हमसे अपने नॉलेज को शेयर करने के लिए समय निकाला है। वेलकम टू द शो।
No, it's completely my pleasure. Firstly, ऐसी जगह पे आना, which is part of my passion, so it is completely, like I said, my pleasure.
सब आपका जो पूरा स्पेक्ट्रम है, आप जो करते हैं, इसे डिफाइन करना थोड़ा-सा ना बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स है। हाउ डू यू प्रेज़ेंट योरसेल्फ? आपसे जब लोग पूछते हैं व्हाट एक्ज़ैक्टली डू यू डू? हाउ डू यू डिफाइन योरसेल्फ?
So, in a very short, I would define myself as a security industry professional. Okay. Not very much like John Wick or whatever you said, but I belong to physical security industry, and there are many dimensions of that particular industry. So, of which I have done certain things, and I am doing certain things right now. So, जो manpower guarding होता है, I generally belong to that industry, and VIP protection is a part of that industry. So, security industry professional is what I actually would describe myself as.
एग्ज़ैक्टली। दिस इज़ व्हाट पीपल जो बहुत कुछ नहीं बताना चाहते अपने बारे में, दिस इज़ हाउ दे डिस्क्राइब देमसेल्फ। बट येस, सो आप समझ सकते हो ही कम्स फ्रॉम अ बैकग्राउंड जिसे हम सही तरीके से डिफाइन नहीं करते क्योंकि ऐसी चीज़ों को डिफाइन नहीं किया था एंड ऑफ कोर्स और इन अ लेमन पर्सन हम उसे बोलते हैं वीआईपी सिक्योरिटी एंड अ हाई रिस्क सिक्योरिटी जोन। सो मैं आपसे जब बात कर रहा था, जब हम इवेंट पे मिले थे, तो आपने एनसीसी के बारे में बात किया था। प्राइवेट सिक्योरिटी जो आप करते हैं वो तो है ही है। यू हैव अ वेरी वास्ट शूटिंग एक्सपीरियंस, आपको गन शूटिंग काफ़ी पसंद है। आपने अपने अफ्रीका के ट्रेनिंग के बारे में बताया, हम उन सब चीज़ों के बारे में बात करेंगे। बट इतना सब कुछ हाउ डू यू मैनेज?
Uh, Passion, I would say, because वो बोलते हैं ना, जहाँ चाह है वहाँ राह है। तो इफ यू हैव दैट पैशन, रास्ते अपने आप आ जाते हैं, मीन्स भी मिल जाते हैं। सो आई डोंट थिंक दैट इज दैट डिफिकल्ट। और जैसे बोलते हैं कि अच्छे अच्छे लोग मिलते गए आपके जैसे, तो अच्छी अच्छी बातें होती गई।
और होती गई। सर, जैसा कि आपने बोला कि यू आर फ्रॉम अ सिक्योरिटी बैकग्राउंड, तो अब मैं आपसे सिक्योरिटी के रिगार्डिंग बात करूँगा और आपने बहुत प्यार से ना बीच में बोला हाई सिक्योरिटी और वीआईपी सिक्योरिटी के बारे में आपने बताया। सो व्हाट एग्ज़ैक्टली इज़ वीआईपी सिक्योरिटी और वो क्या होता है?
Actually, VIP security is also a very vast domain. VIP is basically anybody who who's either a high net worth individual or a person who has got a threat to his life because of his political lineage, or because of his position in the society, or because of his position in some big corporation or something of that sort, जिसकी वजह से उनके लाइफ को थ्रेट है। तो वी वर्क इन सच अ वे टू प्रोटेक्ट देम।
Okay.
लाइक बॉडीगार्डिंग is a very layman's term used for VIP protection or close protection. Uh, it's a very vast field. So, uh, in different scenarios, in different regions, different sectors, the parameters of VIP protection, bodyguarding, they differ, or they the limits of
The
that
VIP
particular
protection.
it extends. So
That's what the VIP protection is all about. Can we call it a private military for a VIP person?
uh, In fact, now I would, since you have given me that opportunity, I would like to misspell some misconceptions about private military or PMCs,
Yes.
private military corporations. Uh, the very popular notion and the way it
Okay, so originates. So let me rephrase it for you.
uh,
What exactly is private military, and is it legal? Because you told me it's a very great term. So what is private military and is it legal? And what is exactly? Because we have, I also had this notion कि private military people carry gun. क्या होता है sir private military?
Acha, okay. Good, since you asked me, I would like to briefly give you the origins of private military corporations, how they originate.
Yes.
Right? So, somewhere around in 1980s, late 80s, 1889 or something,
Yes.
there was I believe, there was a lieutenant colonel in South African Defense Forces. I think Ibn Marlow and Mike Mullen were to be held. And those were the times in Southern Africa where the empires or the states or the nations were not built on very well foundation,
Yes.
and
Very destabilized.
destabilized kind of thing, and there was a lot of anarchy over there, and many African states, they wanted to dissolve their militaries, the
Oh.
standing militaries, and yet there were need for security for the whole nation state as such, and certain diaspora or certain communities or people in a particular nation or state, which required to be provided security a bit militaristic in nature. Okay. So that is when even Marlowe and Michael Mullen, they came up with this idea of private military company,
Okay.
wherein certain functions of military were outsourced to them. So that is how it actually originated. They had a company called Executive Outcomes. So that is how private military corporations originated.
Yes.
And over a period of time, they grew into a wide area or a wide spectrum, I would say. And in popular terms, like we feel a private military contractor is a person who's toting gun around,
Yeah.
and who like or a mercenary kind of
Maternal
person.
captain kind of.
But that is not today's terms. That is not the correct
Representation of visuals. What you can say.
of that. Yeah. Okay. So in present day, private military corporations are involved in lot of uh, military and semi-military
Yes.
occupations wherever uh, the countries or the states or the corporations for that matter, they cannot legally own a military, where keeping a standing military is not affordable to certain nations.
Certain place. Or maybe there are places or some kind of oil rigs or like I've seen a lot of ships they hire a private military because they cannot have a standing army on a ship, so they actually need a private military or someone who is skilled enough. The things that the guard cannot do, but they need a certain kind of people who are from army or has a background or who are trained in a certain way to deal with this kind of exactly.
So there is another word for private military corporation which is also very popular. That is PSC, private security corporations. And the popular ones,
Yes.
or the image that we have of private military corporations, is actually private security corporations
Yes.
who are in certain areas involved heavily in military like activity,
Okay.
combat oriented activity. So that is where the popular connotation to
Yes.
PMCs come.
Okay. So I would like to know that do we have a PMC or private security in India? And is it legal? Is it how does it operate in India? So do they operate in India? Because I have seen, I don't know if I can say it on camera, but I have seen few billionaire in India. They carry people with guns and they don't look like from Indian army or from a security. So they look like a foreigners and they have that kind of security. So I want to know from you that is it some kind of private military or something?
No, so firstly, uh, if now going forward, if I'm speaking about, I'll clarify it.
Yeah.
But going forward, if I'm speaking about PMCs,
Yes.
I'll speak about it in a popular connotation that the mercenary kind of PMC.
Yes. Yes.
And that is not legal in India.
Okay.
Or rather, there are no PMCs in India.
In India.
Okay. Uh, for the very reason that I would say,
But we have private security here in progressive in India.
yeah. And like you said, there are some gun-toting people
Yes.
who are around certain so-called VIPs
Yes.
or actually VIPs
Yes.
who uh, masquerade as bodyguards.
Okay.
But I would rather say that is actually very much of a not show off, but that's actually not bodyguarding.
And they are not bodyguarding.
And it's more of, I would rather say, show off.
Yeah. So basically, I was pointing to someone. I've seen a billionaire in Mumbai. He's a very top guy, and looks like the guy was from America or something. He doesn't look like an Indian, and he had a like. It looks like it was a private security. I don't know. I will show you the video after the speed is done. Right? Yes. So it was a surprise to me because he didn't look like an Indian guy, and he was not from NSG or some kind of VVIP protection. So it looked like, I don't know. Some rules can be changed for some people, but yeah.
No, the thing is, now you can hire
Yes.
a bodyguard,
Okay.
a person to protect you. Uh, but protecting a VIP is not just using a weapon.
Okay.
There is a whole lot of other things
Other things.
that are required. A weapon is just a part of it. And primarily, weapon is for self-protection. So when I'm protecting my VIP, and the threat is equally there to me, okay. So the weapon is to protect myself more than my VIP, because to protect my VIP, I have to take him out of the threat situation. And in a way, you know what we bodyguards are called as? They're called as bullet catchers.
Okay. So you
Because,
get to it.
because it's in our training
Yes.
that we shield our VIP
With your
and take the bullet on us if there is a need.
yes.
So that is our primary task. Then
So take a bullet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have to take the bullet for your VIP on your body. You are basically a pellet catcher or a bullet catcher for. So in a layman version, you are taking a bullet for him.
yeah, in fact, that is very counterintuitive
Yes.
for a normal person.
Yeah.
So when we were taught, when I was going through the course, there was a drill, an attack on principle drill, as we call it, wherein we actually have to take a shot on our chest.
Oh.
Okay.
Real bullet.
I'll tell you what it is
Okay.
subsequently as we go forward. But in the real world scenario, we wear a bulletproof jacket. So we act as a shield for our VIP, and we take the shot on the bulletproof jacket. So how it is simulated is how we are taught.
Okay.
So it is a simulation that we are taught on. There's a round called simulation.
Simulation now.
Simulation. It's a acronym or a homonym for simulation and ammunition.
Okay. So it's a simulation. So it's like a ammunition, but it's a simulation. It's a lifestyle.
So it is like if you made a paintball gun and a firearm together, you get a simulation.
Simulation.
So it shoots the firearm shoots a small paintball
Pellets.
which hits you.
And it has a huge impact because he and Ankit said we went to NSC, area last Monday, and then this, we actually had to experience it. And there was a lot of marks on the NSC people body with the same NSC, and they were badly.
I mean, the simulation it stings you. I mean, the wound, it takes at least a couple of weeks to heal. It is that deep. Depending on how you take it.
How you take it, yes. So one of the guys has the hit on his eyes. So he was badly injured, and so that was the whole reason we were there, because we were there to provide them something much safer.
In fact, that is what the scenario of VIP protection in India is not that developed.
Yeah.
And maybe one of the reasons why because I have had quite a few friends who have protected some high net worth individuals in Mumbai,
Okay.
who are not from India,
Yes.
who are from my academy in South Africa.
South Africa.
So you must quite possibly you must have seen one of
Yes, that's what I was asking. So I saw them, and I could see them. They are not Indian, and they look highly trained.
yes. So there are quite a few foreign companies
Yes.
working in India.
India.
Uh,
So I will, since you have a huge exposure, and as you told that you have a lot of friend that works around the world. So
yes.
so how is PMC different in India? How do they serve in India? How do they offer us services outside India? So what kind of services they generally provide in India, and compared to if they provide the same service in USA or maybe South Africa? I have seen few of our Indian guys who go to Africas and countries in Africa where they operate. So today's Instagram world. So sometimes they post photographs and says, in this kind of scenario, I've seen them. They operate there. So how is their operation different from India, and how what kind of services they provide in India and rather outside India?
So plainly, like I told you, in India there are no PMCs,
Okay.
and VIP protection in India is directly provided by the government.
Okay.
I mean, you can ask the government for protection,
Okay.
and it comes with a some kind of fee,
Certain cost.
certain cost, and the armed part can be taken care by government.
Okay.
And
Unarmed
part, the planning, because there are a lot of things that go into protecting a VIP. So the unarmed part can be taken care by the VIP protection agency, I would say. So it is restricted to only that much in India.
Okay.
And another reason why I tell you is, in India, VIP protection or PMCs. Why in India PMCs are not there? One of the reasons is legal. Another reason is we don't need it.
Okay. So we don't exactly need the PMC.
The PMCs, the popular kind of PMCs that are there, or the popular connotation of PMCs, we don't really need it in India.
Okay.
Because even though there are hostile zones in India,
Okay.
we have, in fact, we are developed in terms of military developed country. We have a huge government security establishment which consists of armed forces, the military, the paramilitary forces, police forces, and they are quite capable, sufficient, adequate, whatever you say, to take care of all the security needs.
Yes.
From a individual to a corporation, to a community in our country.
Yeah, so for exactly if we see the other countries, so just like we are talking about Africa, if we compare it ourselves with Africa, we are a very safe country. Very few places, maybe in like Kashmir and stuff like that, or some kind of what we call minus area, we are quite safe. Rather than such few things happens, but it is safe. Stop the places in India. Most part of the most and the rest of the time, we are very peaceful if we compare it to the other part of the world. So we I will like to ask you in another way. So, what exactly do PMCs do in Africa? I'm sure you know a lot of what.
Yeah. So, like, I worked over there. Not just in Africa, I would tell you, in many hostile zones in the world. Like, now, what are the major hostile zones in the world? There are central and southern parts of Americas.
Okay.
There are some southern part of Africa is pretty peaceful, I would say. There is crime, but there is not so much of hostility.
Awesome.
The central part and we call it MENA region, Middle East and North Africa.
Okay.
The Horn of Africa region where Somalia is basically. So these are very hostile regions wherein the the actual PMCs are mercenaries. It's a what do you call, it's a what do you call, a dreamland for the PMCs over there. That is where the majority of PMCs are, and certain Asian countries, there is a bit of a, but fairly Middle East, North Africa, Horn of Africa is where most of the PMCs are, because there is a lot of hostility.
So a lot of people who watch Hollywood movies, they know what exactly is mercenaries or mercenaries, what you call it. You mentioned, can you just guide us, someone who is a layman and who have no idea who they are, who are mercenaries? Okay, so let's define it, or we can explain it in your manner.
Okay. So the term mercenary is very ancient.
Mercenaries, you call it mercenaries.
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 It's a very old term. It's not a very modern term.
Yes.
Military has been a profession for many since ages. Now, in ancient times or in medieval times, people who had served in military, because there were nobles, there were kings, there were kingdoms, and people who were militarily
Trained.
sound, military trained, martial artists or for that matter warriors, they used to provide their fighting skills or their services to certain um kingdoms, nobles, or individuals. So that is how the mercenaries began. Okay, and then it went on in modern days. A very common or layman's term for mercenary, like they call gun for hire.
So
That is, you hire a person who's trained in military skills, who may or may not possess a weapon, to do certain things legally,
yes.
to maybe protect them, to protect the property. So
For a certain a certain mission. So if you watch a lot of Hollywood movies, you must have seen a guy who is living in his farm, and then some people come to them. Hey, they actually literally beg them, hey, you are the guy with certain skills. We want to hire you for this work, and then that person is generous enough to do some work for some money. So you know that guy is mercenary.
pays him. So what is the movie extracts?
Yes. So that's the guy for. So in a layman term, the extraction work is done by the mercenaries. So you have worked around the world, sir, and you mentioned what African countries. So what are the challenges that PMC works they face? So is it a legal challenge? Is it a logistical challenge? Or is it a kind of a training, manpower? Which kind of challenges do PMC actually face
Uh,
to operate around the world, not only in India, around the world?
so first thing is legal is the first thing.
Yes.
Because I mean, uh, there's no point of talking about illegal things. Right?
Yes. That is
Now legality is defined by that particular nation.
yes.
Okay, what's legal in one nation cannot be legal in other
Countries.
But apart from that, there are certain basic human values,
Yes.
or I mean, the United Nations believes that,
Yes.
or the world believes that, for that matter, human life is
Very more important. Yes.
very, very important.
Very.
So, considering that as a benchmark, there are certain things that you can do and that you cannot do. So, some things are not very proper in human right terms. So, uh, keeping that apart, they have to look for proper legality
Yes.
in a particular nation.
What kind of legality? So, for example, even certain kind of guns can be legal in some country. In other country, it's not allowed.
Not allowed, Maharaj.
It can be as basic as this.
Basic, exactly. Like you said, as basic as that, from that to whether you can actually hire an armed force to do, and to what extent they can use the force.
Yes. If and when needed.
If and when needed.
Can they even use it?
Can they, so whether can they even use it? So that is the primary thing. But then apart from that, the
Logistical issues are kind of.
logistical is smallest of the issues.
Yes. Okay.
Uh, maybe the training and other things, they're the smallest of the issue. Another thing is the mindset, the building the right kind of mindset. Now, earlier, in fact, many PMCs, like you must have heard of a company called Blackwater.
Yes.
It ran into trouble because of lot of human rights violations, especially in Iraq. So it was a very, well trained, well equipped PMC, and they were very good.
Yeah, they were very good. In fact, there was a movie on it. I actually saw a movie
On the
Blackwater. So it was on a Blackwater. It was a bit exaggerated, but it was what they made it. And so they were basically doing some kind of oil rig thing, and they, to just to clear the area, they did something very wrong. But it was inspired from the Blackwater. It was not exactly on a Blackwater, but it was inspired from that.
Now, there had been instances wherein the private military corporations have been involved in certain acts, which are, I would say, less than legal,
Yes.
to absolutely illegal, to immoral, unethical. So, earlier there were not many guidelines, but then countries came together. United Nations had a convention, and they built up certain framework of guidelines to conduct or to regulate the way these PMCs would work. Now, for that matter, even there is an ISO standard as to how not PMCs could work, but how physical security operations could work. That could be used in PMCs. It's ISO 18788 something, which could be used as a guideline to for the PMCs that they will be working in a very laid down framework kind of manner.
Great. So for PMC, so in India, you see there are a lot of huge factories that are coming up, a lot of MNCs are coming up. They are building a very high and expensive infrastructure. And what kind of scope do you see that the PMC can be used in that? Since there can be a certain extent where government can provide their CRPF or BSF for security of a private factories and infrastructure. So I can see that there is a scope for PMC in India or a private security in India. And what do you see do you see a scope in India for that?
Armed private security, yes. PMCs, maybe not, or maybe yes.
Yeah.
That is up to the government to define it.
Yes.
But then, thing is, we have like you said, we have huge security establishment, and but there will be a time when a lot many things will get outsourced.
Yes.
And that is where we have a huge pool of talent.
Yeah.
In fact, the world can use
Our talent.
Indians or our talents in the PMCs.
Exactly.
Okay, now present day scenario, the world is dominated by Americans and British mostly.
Yes.
But we don't have any lack of talent. And I would even say the present scheme of Agniveer,
Yes.
maybe somewhere the government must have thought of that also in the mind, because many corporations have come forward saying that we will employ PMCs.
Yeah.
And many corporations today even do employ a lot of ex-servicemen as security personnel, because who better than them?
Exactly. I think who better than even before that, if you forget the private security, a lot of the security guards used to be from the army, and I think who are better trainer. And as you mentioned, Agniveer, who better can an as for Agniveer be? If I'm someone who is operating a private military corporation or private security, I would love to hire someone who is trained by army for like 4 years. Exactly. He's young and I don't have to spend the time or money to train him from the very basics. So he will be a very good hire for me, and then I can then train him for my scenario and my need. It will be a great thing to do, and I think it will be a very. We can even outsource it for if other countries they need it. We can always have that.
In fact, I mean, now Nepal is doing it in a big way.
Yeah.
There are a lot of Nepalis who are working for private corporations, private military corporations outside India.
Yes, I saw some in Russia. So they were in Russia war. I saw few videos. They were joining Russian military or what. Like PMG, I think the private military group or something.
There is a very prominent private military group in Russia, Wagner.
Yeah.
But then not all of them were a part of PMC. Some of them were kind of drafted into it.
Yeah.
But then there are lot of companies like the Brits and the Americans, they do it in a big way.
Big way, yes.
I mean, that they think of the PMCs as their major, what do you call, lucrative job.
Yes. So they love to do it.
There are a lot of things that
I think they make a good money because
the money is good.
Yeah, the money is good, and since there's that kind of skill, they are training in a certain way. It's good. So we were talking about things that some private military have done, like rainwaters. Where do we draw a line? As there are ethical concern with PMC, as you told. Where do we draw a line between what's ethical, what's not, and do you fear that a private company owning what are your concern and what do you have to say about that?
In terms of where do we draw lines is what I would rather say individual nation has to decide, because nation collectively,
Yes.
no matter how backward that nation is, the government collectively has a very sound thought process.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, not going with any kind of government answer, but it's at the end of the day, it's a government. Any decision that it takes after a lot of deliberation. Okay. So, if it depends how much control can you exercise over, or how much can you regulate a particular PMC, that much you can give them liberty. It is like हम बच्चे को कहाँ तक खेलने को खेलने छोड़ सकते हैं, कहाँ तक जा सकते हैं, जहाँ तक मैं देख सकता हूँ देख सकते हैं, जहाँ तक मैं चिल्ला सकता हूँ वहाँ। तो इट इज़ समवेयर अप टिल दैट। अ, एंड देयर in certain cases it is an absolute clear
नो नो कि आप
no
ये
कि
नहीं कर सकते, you cannot
ये नहीं कर
you
सकते हैं, हाँ।
cannot do this.
So excessive force in terms of life
Yes.
or life and limb, excessive force in terms of property destruction, excessive force in terms of outraging the modesty of female. So excessive or rather illicit trade and
Yeah.
substance abuse practices. So where PMC feels, or rather any armed organization feels that it can get into any illicit activities or less than moral activity
Yeah.
without any impunity,
Yes.
that is where
They draw
a line needs to be drawn.
down.
Uh, so that is, and there are certain very well laid down guidelines, and like I said, there is an ISO standard for that. So those could be used as a guideline for that.
So this is a, I will like to ask a question. Maybe we may not put it on the video, but I would like to ask to you, your personal view. I was watching a news channel where they were saying that, you know, you are training a guy with a firearm and you are putting them in an army for like 4 years. Once they are out, they can get into some illegal activity. They are trained. What are your views on that? I will tell my view as well because I need to share it with you. But what are your views on that?
So, firstly, that apprehension that that person. Now, there are so many people who have retired from the army who are far better trained and more trained than an Agniveer who have been in far worse combat scenarios. How many of them have turned into goons? Frankly, you can't even think of. There may be one odd case, like the and that might even be glorified. I wouldn't comment upon Pan Singh Tomar, but yes, there might be one odd glorified case, but that is not the actual scenario. If that had to happen, that would have happened way ago.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I would say that apprehension is absolutely uncalled for.
Yes.
Rather, a person, and again, I would say India is very much of a law and order country. It is not possible for that thing to happen in India. The apprehension that an armed or tactical trained guy will come out in the public and will be havoc. That's what.
So that was the answer I was looking for because you know what, I have seen the news channel guys speaking it on camera and trying to spread this propaganda. I have a certain kind of, I don't have a word to explain them. What kind of stupid logic is that? Because in India, there are people who get trained into NCC. They know how to use a weapon. Tell me how many NCC trained guys have started, abusing. In fact, once you get trained by NCC or something like that, you become more disciplined. That you become more law abiding. You become more. Your chances of going into police or a army or behaving good in a society
Exactly.
becomes better than they becoming a rogue or they doing something very stupid.
Exactly.
So in fact, they once you get trained in NCC, you know how to respect weapon and you know how to behave in a certain way. And you are telling me someone who will join an army, get trained for 4 years, and they will become rogue. What kind of logic is that?
Exactly. So in fact, I'm rather worried about the kids playing PUBG.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know how. Fortunately,
Yes.
in Maharashtra, it is not at all easy to lay hands on a weapon or a firearm.
Yeah.
So that's very one good thing.
Yeah.
And nowadays the scenarios are changing
Yeah.
all throughout India also. So it is not very easy to lay hands on a firearm. For that matter, legal or illegally,
Yeah.
whichever way. It is. So, but in spite of that, I am more worried about a kid who is hooked into PUBG or for that matter some
Yeah.
video game
Yeah.
and who's fascinated about weapons but not aware about its implication and safeties and other
Yeah,
things.
I think getting a good training in a certain way is very important. If you not train someone in a very nice manner, they will learn it in a very different way.
Exactly.
One should get trained at the shooting range or from NCC. rather than learning it from PUBG or something. Exactly. Like, or watching it from a movie and having a certain kind of ideas, certain notion of there's or guns or weapons or anything. So I was having a conversation with you on the range in Pune, and you told that you were in when you were in school, you were in NCC. You have a certain kind of background from the NCC, and then private military. I would like to know what kind of training you have went through. If you can tell, tell me everything. Because I am very excited. What kind of because I learned that you were in Africa training with certain group. So can you just guide me whatever you can tell?
Right. I mean, not a very cloak and dagger stuff that I had been through. But then I just go back. How it started with me is like how it started with every other kid.
Yes.
Okay. Now, fascination for boys' toys, guns, cars, bikes, that used to be there from the beginning. I mean, my family, both my maternal and paternal family, both of them had licensed weapons. So, as a kid, I was exposed to the weapons, firearms and other weapons also. But I was also exposed to very responsible gun ownership,
Yes.
because as a kid, at a very young age, I was not even allowed to touch the weapon.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, but I was told that for that, you'll have to grow a bit. Now, when I grew up, my mama, as they said, uh, he introduced me to air weapon. Okay. And I started shooting an air gun at a very young age of about 8 or 9 years age. I started shooting with an air rifle, and that is how I learned responsible gun handling. Going forward, then the bug bit me of the Prahar movie came when I wanted to join armed forces. And Nana Patekar and one generation has been inspired by that particular movie.
Yes.
So uh, I wanted to join armed forces. So it was very clear in my mind. After my 10th, I started preparing for NDA. I was exposed to certain people who were guiding me to join armed forces. And as I joined college, and just prior to that, I started going to adventure camps wherein I was exposed to methodical way of handling weapons, uh, and a very responsible gun handling. I'm very thankful to some of my instructors in my adventure camps who have literally shaped my life and the way I handle the guns, which has helped me going forward in many courses, I would say. So from there, I joined a club, a shooting club, and from there I grew up. I started shooting with air weapons, and then I grew up. I went into NCC, and because of my ability to handle weapons very well, I was given better opportunities to use certain weapons which were generally not given to
A normal
a normal cadet.
Yes.
So I was exposed to very good. In fact, that was my first exposure to firearms, military-oriented firearms, and the tactical training, I would say. So in NCC, it was phenomenal. The kind of exposure that I got, and then going forward, because of NCC, I got an opportunity to work in security. My ex-commanding officer was one of the security officer, chief security officer in one of the corporation, a reputed corporation. So in open induction, I mean through a fair process, he got me inducted into security of a big corporation, and that is how my journey with security industry started. While I was also preparing for armed forces. So as I kept going ahead, uh, there are a lot of people who have guided me into many things, and it always kept telling me that never stop learning.
Yes.
Like now you introduced me as a master of many things, and I'm not a master.
Yeah.
I would rather prefer to call myself as a learner of many things.
Okay.
Okay, and that is what most of my seniors, my mentors, have told me. And never stop learning.
Yes.
So whenever I got an opportunity, I got into learning something on the other. Now, coming to the course in South Africa in Ronin, wherein earlier at during that time it was not very much heard of.
Which year can you?
It was in somewhere in 2012.
Okay.
So In fact, at that point of time, there was no one who had trained over there. Okay. So me and my friend thought of we did a bit of a research. Even we thought of whether it is we had a dream of going to Blackwater,
Yeah.
and getting trained and being a mercenary and all that. And so even till that point of time, because I thought if I don't make it into the armed forces, which was very much the case at that point of time, because I had tried for NDA, I tried for IMA, I tried for OTA, I even tried for territorial army, but I couldn't get through the SSB. So I thought, if not that, this is might as well become a mercenary, because that was like the mindset. That's just stage of every curiosity's destination. So the fascination, but fortunately, Ronin happened to me.
Yes.
I went to South Africa, and that is where uh, they enlightened me, is what I would say.
Okay.
About this world and the responsive. In fact, my foundations of a responsible PMC or responsible private security corporation, or using a weapon for security purposes, has been laid into Ronin. Okay. So that is where I was exposed to quite a lot of things, and then subsequently I started working with certain people. Uh, this industry generally works on networking.
Yes.
So fortunately, because of Ronin, some course mates who are ex-British Army and they work all around the world, I did get certain work, and I worked with them. So it was a fairly good experience. So that is how actually I started. That was how my whole journey was. And all throughout, I was working in some or the odd corporation or a security company to keep one side going.
Yes. So you keep on working somewhere, and then you are doing this,
Venturing out for some
certain thing. Yeah, exactly. So since you told that you were working there after Ronin, what kind of, how does the day look like in someone who is working in a PMC or operating in an Africa or some country like that in a high risk zone? What does the day look like?
now uh, that a day would look like, I mean, it is from downright boring to extremely high adrenaline kind of movement or actions. Okay, and the transition from this to this end of the spectrum can be in a second. Okay, now if I may use that particular word, we used to say when shit hits the fan. That is when all the hell breaks out loose. So now there are various roles in PMCs. It could be screening or going after and looking at a particular location, planning, doing some logistical arrangements, going out on actual patrol, protecting an individual, or escorting an individual, or being a guard on a door or on a watchtower, or right in the middle of the fire. From that to that. So it could be anything. Now you to be in the middle of the fire. Now there was one of the roles which we call counter attack team or counter assault team, in which that team enters right in the middle of the firefight to intervene and evacuate the VIP, or to resolve a firefight. Okay, it is like a reserve combat potent team which dives right into the middle of the combat, right in the middle of the combat. Yeah. So for a cat team, we, if I may tell you an experience.
Yeah, but my next question was that, can you tell me a story? Because I want to know some story from the actual work, maybe in India or outside India, without breaking the confidentiality. But, of course, whatever you can tell, but I would like to hear some story, interesting story about from your work.
Like I said, there are various teams. Now, there was one team which was on the venue where the VIP was to visit. There is a team with the VIP escorting that, and there is a, like I said, a reserve team who's into who dives right into the middle of the combat. Now the roles keep changing. We are trained for everything. No, on that particular day, I was in a counter attack team, and a cat team as we call it, and that team was a very sound, or a very good combination of a British, Indian, a Greek special forces soldier, and a South African Special Task Forces person, all armed to the teeth. And of all this, a very funny incident. Of all that, all these guys were combat experienced, and my team leader, the Greek Special Forces guy, used to feel that I'm a trigger happy person because I had a lot of fascination for guns. So he used to feel that I'm a trigger happy person. So at the beginning of the whole mission,
Yes.
the first thing he he told us in briefing was in his accent was, okay, first things first, Sujit, you're not going to shoot anyone.
Yeah.
You don't shoot until I tell you to shoot. So I said, okay, whatever you say, chief, and all that. So we went into it, and otherwise, the day for a cat team member is absolutely boring because we wear helmets, we are loaded with weapons.
Yes.
We wear bulletproof jackets, and my bulletproof jacket had a steel insert. Oh, the whole bulletproof jacket would have weighed close to around 20 kgs, or because there was a thick 8 or 10 steel plate, 8 steel plate, hardened steel plate in the front, and a hardened steel plate in the back. I was wearing a very heavy helmet, was carrying a carbine, was carrying a pistol, and the whole thing was, it was absolutely uncomfortable and heavy in the summers of South Africa. So we were bored, and we thought, how does it matter? We removed the plates and relieved ourselves a bit. And in about some time, we heard that there was an attack on principal. Now we don't really know what kind of attack it is. Generally, what happens in African countries, it is just a snatch kind of robbery, kind of. They just put some shopper's cart in front of your car, and if your window is rolled down, and if you're speaking on a phone, they just want to grab your phone and run away. So it might be either that to an actual dedicated attack on my principal. So whatever it was, we heard a call on our radio that attack on principal. There's a code for that. So as we heard that, my the driver, who was a South African policeman, he just drove the traffic and drove to the place where the VIP was, and we were putting the steel plates into our jacket and getting ready to dive into firefight. Fortunately, the firefight didn't happen, and we managed to evacuate the VIP properly. But that is how it happens. So, we were absolutely bored. Nothing is happening. कुछ नहीं हो रहा है, वगैरह वगैरह. And suddenly this happens. So a day in a PMC is
Can be very boring to a very, adrenaline rush, and we never know. Yes.
so and that it so happened that uh, there were some people who were screaming, "Oh, shoot!" My team leader said, "No, we're not shooting," and all that chaos and everything happens.
Yes.
So over a period of time, you mature, you as a team you develop, and then certain drills are developed, and they are practiced properly.
So how does the training happen? Because you have been trained in a very different manner from NCC to, for a military kind of things to this PMC. How is the training different at a different level? When you are in NCC, you are trained as a civilian, and once you're trained for like a private security or private military, I'm sure you must have got some kind of different kind of training. How was the training structure and how they are trained? What kind of training do they provide for a security kind of thing? So I'm sure that the training when you are trained to for the private security, there must be certain kind of specific talent or a specific method that you must be have been trained on. So how are they trained?
Okay,
So or you can say what's the how what's the way or what's the method of training for this kind of work?
okay. What many academies or many corporations, what they do is, there is something what we call prerequisite. Okay. So many academies, like my academy where I was in, they had certain prerequisites if they want to take you for that course. There were only 18 or 16 people in that course, and again we have to pass that test, which was very difficult. And then they asked for certain prerequisites, like whether you have got any exposure to using firearms, whether you are a trained martial artist, whether you have worked for certain military organization. Now that particular course was open for military as well as civilians.
Civilian
But then you need to have certain
baseline to start with.
understanding. Uh, in spite of that, they take you over there as a fresh, raw recruit. And first thing that they break down is your like they say myths or misconceptions about security work.
Or relearn. So you have to
So first thing is unlearn
unlearn.
and then relearn.
Yes.
And the process they used to unlearn was very, I mean, well, we had to run on a beach
Yes.
for about 2.3 miles and then jump into icy cold waters of Atlantic. Yeah, Atlantic. Even in middle of the day, it was very cold. The water was that cold, and you have to dive deep into you have to swim out, then again run on the sand and all that over there. So after that, your mind is not thinking of a lot of many things.
Yes.
You're tired,
Honestly, of course.
you're sloshed, and everything. So after that, they make you stand for 3 or 4 hours in 1 by 1 square, like a 1 feet by 1 feet square. They make you stand just for 3 4 hours, all dressed up in like I'm dressed today.
Yes.
So they make you stand over there, and you're contemplating a lot of things, and after that, instructor comes and tells you, beyond this point, you forget whatever you have learned in the past. Now you learn what we teach you. And from there, they build your foundation, right from legal, ethical, psychological, moral, and all that to physical, more tactical, mental, all kind of training happens.
Yes.
So there is theory, there are practicals, there are drills, there are tests, and it involves all kind of things. Weapons is just a part of it. We used to call it SWAT, Special Weapons and Tactics module. So that is one part of it. There is immense lot of driving involved in it. There is immense lot of medical or first aid, way beyond what we do over here. It is up to a level of paramedic, which is taught over there. Because in the field, if your VIP unfortunately gets hit by anything, or for that matter, if you even if your VIP has some kind of allergy and he is fed with some kind of food,
Yeah.
there's no doctor who's coming to rescue, or may be there on the phone, but you need to know what to do it. If you're saying um, uh, get this particular medicine, dilute it with this much level of distilled water, and then inject in this manner intravenous, you need to understand that. So from there to what are the laws in UK, in world, in various places to use force, and then what are the actual tactical and ethical what do you call rules or parameters on which you can actually use the force. And then a lot of soft skills are involved. But they again like broke a lot of myths that we are goons in suits, as they say. Because in many Hollywood movies, they have portrayed that most of the bodyguards are in suits, and they end up doing some hit job for their VIPs. So how that is not what you are going to learn, or what not you are going to do, is lot such kind of lot many things are taught to you.
Myth is busted, and you keep learning. And because I'm sure you must have certain kind of mindset before going there, and they
Right.
unlearn and relearn you, and then you learn a lot of soft skills. As it, I can imagine now that the first aid kind of thing, the medical thing must be a high priority. Driving, they teach you to drive in a certain way, in a certain manner, especially when your adrenaline is very high. Yeah, yeah. Because in a hostile kind of situation, you don't know how to react. The general public and people, they don't know how to react. They generally they run away or they fight a place, and now you are working in that kind of situation. Coming to next, since there are a lot of things going on, so what exactly matters the most when you are in a high security kind of thing where you work for protecting a very high net worth individual? So what kind of what we call talent, or what kind of thing that you need is you require a physical fitness, you need to have a certain kind of threat, perception, you should have some kind of what we call it psychological conditioning or a mindset. What do you think is at a priority or that is required for the most of the part? So you need to be very physically fit, or you need to be very you know how to react in a certain manner.
Mentally agile.
Yes, mentally agile. What do they matter the most?
The most, I would say, being mentally agile is what matters most. And along with it, your ethics, your upbringing are equally important. Okay. Um, uh, uh, Physical conditioning is also very, very important, but uh, that is finite, that is limited. You know your body, you know how to train it. So that is not a very big deal as such.
Yes.
But mental conditioning is something which is very, I would say, underrated in today's world. Okay. Uh, Now I remember a very good dialogue, I would, if I may say,
Yes.
from the movie Ab Tak Chappan. Uh, Dana Patekar was telling one of his subordinates, they were an encounter specialist and all that. So Nana Patekar was something of that sort. He was thinking uh, something like कि trigger खींचना आसान है, but इस trigger खींचने की आदत से बचना ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है. So that is also one thing that you need to understand. Just because you have a gun, you are trained very well or very, it is like a muscle memory.
Yes.
To shoot. So even if you're trained, you must know where
Not to use it. I think you should know where not to use the weapon, and rather than using it.
Ha,
You cannot use it.
because that is very difficult. Now, sometimes they say uh, uh, to shoot in actual combat scenario is very difficult. It is not that easy. But then, if you are trained well enough, na, under stress, under everything, if you are trained well enough, if it becomes your muscle memory, you might as well do it without even thinking about it. But the implications is what you consciously need to think about, and that is the most difficult part of it, I would rather say. And again, the threat perception, because you continuously always need to be aware as to what your surrounding is like even if I'm talking to you, who's moving behind me, who's moving in front of me, and if a vehicle must have drove in the parked in the parking, all these sounds and everything, you need to train your mind for that.
Yes. You have to be very conscious.
So that is very, very,
Very
important.
important. So
And not many, you're not brought up that way.
yes.
Fortunately,
Normal people are not trained to do stuff like that.
these things. Yeah. But I would rather say, fortunately for me, a lot of my previous training had helped me in that NCC, martial arts, and all these things. They have actually helped me a lot in getting that mindset or gelling into that very quickly.
Yes.
So that was
Great. So you mentioned about weapon and when not to pull the trigger, and I love guns. So yeah, when we love guns. Yeah, we love. And so when we train, when we say we generally train on a air rifle or a air pistol. It's a very basic .17, so that is legal in India, and we do it. And when we do the air shooting or a pistol or a air rifle shooting, we do it in a very certain manner where we hold our breath, take our time, fire, and then we reload it and fire it. And once a PMC is trained or someone who are trained in a tactical way, so I want you to guide our viewers how different it is air pistol shooting or a sport shooting different from a tactical shooting.
okay. Now,
Not many people know that both the shootings are very different. Most of the people have seen movies and they have an idea of it. Then you can buy it. Yeah, for PUBG. Uh, uh, Sadly, I don't play a lot of games, so I don't have any clue. But you know, can you just guide them how it is very different from the tactical shooting and a sport shooting? How it is very different, or what are the similarities?
okay, for that matter, fortunately, since I have been a sports shooter,
Yes.
I can speak about both the things.
That's why I ask you.
Yeah. I mean,
Who better shit than you?
kind of. Now, over a period of time, I had realized that I'm more of a tactical shooter than a sport shooter.
Yes.
Okay, tactical shooting is very instinctive, muscle memory based, quick, fast pace, and not just adrenaline induced. Tactical shooting is also very much uh, controlled in a way that you have to fight adrenaline also.
Yes.
Because when adrenaline rushes in, initially you cannot uh, think of many things.
Yes.
You forget about thinking. You cannot aim straight.
Yes.
Okay, so uh, we are trained to go through that kind of stress and then shoot in a very uh, small aperture of opportunity that we get. Whereas in sport shooting, it is very calm, deliberate, peaceful. The target is there itself. It's not going anywhere. Though there is a time limit, there is enough of time.
Yes.
I mean, I remember when I had gone through the sport shooting match. mm, I had finished my match way too early because I thought, why to wait when I had aimed properly? And there was an incident which had happened with me. My gun was rigged. I was given a very bad weapon and all that thing. So I shot it based on my instinct. Again, I did sport shooting in a tactical way, even though I was not very trained.
Yes.
So that is when I realized I'm not made for this. I'm made for tactical shooting.
Tactical.
And the main difference is uh, this is very instinctive, this is very deliberate.
Yes.
In tactical shooting, you cannot uh, miss the opportunity.
Yes.
So you have to grab the opportunity. Many a times, what happens is all that you have been taught in sport shooting, you pull the trigger very squeeze it like you're squeezing a lemon or something of that sort, or you do it very slowly or breathe slowly and follow through and all that. इतना time नहीं होता है things. मतलब, if I may just quickly tell you, there was one of the tests we call stress shooting.
Yes.
So there is, we were given a pistol. So the pistol is disassembled,
Yes.
and the rounds are scattered all around. The magazine is kept over there. There is a target 30 meters away. I mean, there are targets kept, a block of woods kept, and there was a dummy mannequin. So we had a test in which we had to run 30 meters. We had to slap the dummy. We had to come back, and not just slap. We had to shout the dummy's name. The dummy had a name.
Yeah.
We had to shout the name. We have to run back. We have to assemble the pistol. We have to load the cartridges. Load it.
Yes.
In prone position, you have to. There were 5 targets, but in prone position, you can shoot 5 shots. Get up, run ahead. In kneeling, 5 shots. Get up, run ahead. In standing, 5 shots. In that, you are supposed to what do you call, drop the 5 targets. Only 5 targets. Log of woods. Now, looking at the logs and the weapon, we thought how difficult it might be.
Yes.
Yeah. So nobody shoots. There were people who were not able to, ex-military,
Yeah.
who were not able to drop down even one log of wood. Okay, because all, and apart from that, the instructor is all around you throwing firecrackers at you, not around you, even at you,
Yeah.
just to put you in, just to startle you or put you in a race. And he's shouting at you, screaming at you, abusing you, everything. And after all that running, you, I mean, the heartbeat, the adrenaline, everything, a live fire ammunition. So, and again, you cannot hit the dummy.
Dummy. Yes.
The target is just besides the dummy. You cannot hit the dummy. So you have to be deliberate. So once you are put through that kind of crucible, is how you come out as a good tactical shooter, I would say.
So I think in what we can say in a sports shooting, if you miss the target, you lose a point. In a real life in tactical shooting, if you missed, you have it.
Sadly.
Yes. It will be more, you have place guns. So career is gone, our life is gone, and that's the very different thing. And as you mentioned that you fired like very fast. You finished your shooting very fast. In fact, when I went for my first competition, and so everyone was shooting, I realized that I just it is not even half, and I have fired all my shots because I have a very I have a practice of shooting it very rapidly because I generally fire as you do pistol. So I have I generally shoot like 18 shots in like 10 seconds. And now I was doing all this follow back and thing. Still, I was very fast. And for stress shooting, I've never been to that kind of training. But I remember when I was doing NCC in Ludhiana, Punjab, and so I had an instructor in Tirlochan Singh. So what he used to do, he used to make us stand and he used to make us do the push-ups. So you go to the push-ups, generally like 20, and now he beautiful Punjab, and he used to be very abusive. You know how they did it. So he was from army. He used to be very abusive, and then he used to do the push-ups, go run through the ground, come back, and by the time you come back running, was I was around 17, 18. So you have this, your legs are shaking, and then he used to tell you that, "No, now load the gun." So you can barely lie down, and how will you put? So your fingers start shaking. You cannot put the .22 in the rifle, and then once you fire it, you know you generally miss the target. And if you miss the target, he used to abuse you more. That you have just wasted 5 rounds. Then this is the thing. So that is very different from the sports shooting, where in the sports shooting they tell you to set yourself, breathe slowly, take a stance, fire it, and
In fact, even my instructor, I used to call him Banni Saab. He was a special forces subedar, and fortunately, he taught us shooting in a very superb manner. And even there were instructors who used to abuse and everything. He taught us how to follow your principles even when there is chaos, and how to achieve the target. And he trained us to such a good extent that at certain point of times he was sitting somewhere just besides the target, and he used to tell us, okay, this is where your shot is hit, now aim over here and hit.
behind the target.
Huh. Not behind the target, just somewhere besides the target. And he used to point towards it. So that kind of confidence he had in his training, the training that he delivered. Otherwise, I mean, even I had faced certain instructors who used to put in stress, but that was a part of the training. Like you said.
Yeah. So you have been in a very different kind of weapon training. So let me ask you very straightforward. What is missing in weapon training in India right now in current scenario? Be it civilian or tactical shooting. What is missing in India shooting culture?
Missing, I would say, now there is a fairly developed, in fact, we are very good at sport shooting.
Yes.
From all the
All Olympic medals and everything. Yeah, the sport shooting, we are
very developed, very good.
But that's why I asked civilian and tactical shooting. I never mentioned sports because we are doing very great at the at the sports shooting.
So I would say what we are missing in tactical shooting in India, so we are missing tactical shooting itself. That's no the tactical shooting scenario in India. And for that, I would rather say, more than the legality or more than the government,
Yes.
the people are responsible for that, because there is no responsible gun ownership and gun handling.
Yes.
I mean, the gun is toted, or rather, it is showed off. Gun is something, more than protection requirement, it has become a status symbol.
Yes, it has become a status symbol.
Unfortunately, in India. So, which is the thing which is responsible for the lack of tactical shooting scenario in India. I mean, we can't have people who are show-offs um, doing tactical shooting, because it's like just to show off that tactical shooting, they might do something. So that is something that we, I mean, what I feel is uh, basically responsible gun ownership or gun handling is missing in India. Because of it, missing in India in the sense, missing in the non-sports civilian shooting scenario. Okay. A license holder, even though he has to go through safety course and a basic course and mental conditioning and all that is not very much effective or potent to give them tactical exposure.
So let me tell you. So nowadays there are a lot of bench resting and playing shooting is going on in India, and it is the community is emerging, and that's how we met. So do you think that this can reshape the responsible gun shooting in India?
In fact, yes. In fact, very much. In fact, no, the reason why I would think in that way is, now first thing when a kid thinks about a gun is when he or she is a kid and they see movies or something and they get a toy gun. That is how your curiosity is generated. Okay, the curiosity or the fascination, and from there, if they get a good guidance, if there are certain I would say facilities available for sport shooting and the kid gets into the sport shooting, there are 50% chances or I mean not even I had been to sport shooting, and for a kid that might be boring.
Oh yes,
I mean
it's quite boring. You know, it's boring. Let's be
S- Steve, he so but can get boring. I mean, it has got its own excitements,
yes.
but by the time you realize that excitement, maybe you must have already lost the interest in sport shooting and, for that matter, even in shooting.
Yes,
So that many kids they try to find escapade, and unfortunately, because of video games
yes.
and movies, uh, they may end up getting into some kind of irresponsible shooting,
Yes, exactly.
which is what
Or maybe hunting, or maybe something like this.
hunting.
So generally, what happens? I've seen that people they want to do shooting, so they go to shooting range. Then they realize that this is very boring. I cannot hold 40 shots and things like that. So what they they find a bottle or some kind of box. They start shooting it here and there. They are not shooting it at a range or something, and that's how they get into what we call it a irresponsible shooting.
Irresponsible shooting, which is what I think Plinking and Benchrest in an organized manner,
Yes,
uh,
in a safe zone.
in a safe zone, uh, is tapping that particular curiosity
Yes,
and molding it into a very responsible as well as fun way of shooting.
yes.
So, for that, I think Plinking and Benchrest both have done a very great job or a very great service, I would say, to lay maybe the foundations of civilian tactical shooting in India.
Yeah.
Maybe um, that itself is not very tactical.
Yes, yeah, of course. It is not that tactical, but it has its own fun.
And it teaches you how to be very, very responsible while having the fun.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to be rash while shooting
Yes.
to have fun. Is what Plinking and Benchrest. And again, going forward, Benchrest is again one thing which very lot many sports shooter is where they can get that excitement that I was talking about
Yes, yes, yes.
in Benchrest.
Yes.
So both have got its own charms and I would say they're very good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I am very bullish on this. Think that in a coming year, like usually a lot of shooting ranges are there in India. I think I see in like next 10 year, like 500 to 600 shooting range with the Plinky facilities in India, with the bench resting. I see a huge scope, and I think that will change it. But from your view, do you think there are a lot of people are interested in shooting these days? Do you see a change? Because earlier there was I don't when you were young, I'm sure that getting a hand on an air rifle or a pistol was
difficult.
was a bit difficult. Only way to get it was through NCC, so you can
Yeah.
get a firearm. Now, have you seen the scenario change? Because
You know, one thing for sure, the scenario has changed a lot. Now there is a lot of access to air weapons of
yes,
lot many kind in India, and that is more of a reason to have, I would say, plinking ranges, dedicated plinking zones, wherein gun owners, air weapon owners can use their or try out their air weapons in a very safe, controlled, responsible zones and in a manner. And also wherein like-minded people can come together and develop a very responsible gun, I mean, shooting community.
yes, it can be a great way to build a community.
Yeah.
So anyone, if you own a huge land parcel and want to earn some money, or to do a favor to a shooting comedy, this is your chance.
Yeah, you should open up a plinking arena or something like this.
Yes.
In fact, what you're envisioning that
Yes.
such kind of arenas coming up in a lot would be a dream come
Yes.
true for all of us.
Yeah, a lot of, I think, if the people watching it, and then the people, I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of range, especially in people in Punjab, Haryana, Gurgaon. If there, you have a land that is, that you can spare it and you can give it to the shooting and you can develop it, believe me, you will lay a foundation for responsible gun shooting. Even if you're not making money out of it, I think, even if you start, you don't know the potential yet. It is still an untapped market.
Yeah.
So maybe you may not be making money for the first few years, but then certainly your name will be, there in the books of history for doing a favor to the community, and it will lay a foundation for us responsible gun shooting in India. So, because we are talking about shooting, you have laid your hand on a lot of firearms, for air guns and firearms. What is your favorite tool? Which is your favorite firearm?
Now this is something. This is the. In fact, I would say this is the most difficult question.
Yes.
Because uh, I love guns.
Yes.
So it is very difficult to be partial to one gun. But if you say for certain things which weapon you would carry, then I might be able to tell you. Like,
Yeah, but for certain scenarios. So I understand that for a certain kind of scenarios or missions, you may require a certain kind of weapon. And generally, when people ask me, so now I'm not very much into selling, or I don't take calls of a client. But earlier, when I used to do it myself personally, a lot of people used to ask me, "So, which kind of gun will you suggest?" And I had this very standard question. It is like choosing your wife or a girlfriend. Everyone has their own taste. So something that I like, you may not like it, and something that someone likes, I will judge someone for choosing a small weapon or a very small gun, but someone may love it. For me, I love Beretta. Some people like Glock. Some people have a fascination for 1911. So I, to be very specific, what is your taste? What kind of weapon do you like? If you have to choose one,
okay.
I'm not talking about this for a specific mission. I will go on that later. What is your favorite one?
Then let me at least give you a couple of options in each segment. Uh, for that matter, I love Glocks.
Yes.
I've used Glocks, Berettas, HKs, and all that. But uh, normally, I would use an HK-P30. It's a 9mm weapon. It's a brilliantly engineered weapon. Uh, Now, there were a lot of our course mates who were, there are people who are made for certain guns,
Yeah.
and there are people who are not made for certain guns. One of my colleague, if I may just bit digress from or give you an experience, there is a thing called limb twisting.
Okay.
That is, if your wrist
Yes.
is not strong enough,
Okay.
the recoil will not let the weapon to cycle.
Okay.
The slide to rack. Okay. Because of which there might be failure to feed. It's a stoppage. Now that kind of, I initially used to think limb twisting किसका होगा? मतलब
हाँ.
ऐसा ऐसा कहाँ होता है?
हाँ, ऐसा कभी होता है.
ऐसा कभी होता है क्या? And to my surprise, I found that happening with a British military guy. Oh, now I thought, of all the people, how could it happen with that?
That guy.
That guy. Now the weapon was so makhan, HKP-30.
Yes.
The weapon is makhan. I mean, it is
Like butter.
for that matter. If you're shooting a 9mm through HKP-30, it might even give you a feel, kind of a feel of shooting a CO2 with a 3 or 4 joules of power. That kind of, because of their recoil reduction mechanism, the balance of the weight in the weapon, and their engineering, it's phenomenal. So, if you ask me, which weapon would you carry for VIP protection? To escort the what do you call VIP? Of course, at that point of time, FN-57 was not that very prominent, or maybe had not come over at that point of time. But I was trained on HK-P30. For me, HK-P30 is like amazing. In carbine section, I was trained on R5. It's a South African version of Galil, but again with some South African modification. Now, South African people are very practical and very, I would say, wide thinking. So the weapon was made very well. It was a 5.56 weapon. So that is again one thing which I would love to carry, or else a Krinkau. which is 7.6 to 39, a shortened version of AK, because of its concealability. So there are these certain weapons. Then bigger weapons, the a short scope version of any M4 in 308 is a good weapon. Um, for long range sniping, and I won't go into it much, because though I had done the sports version of it, but then tactical version of it is not very prevalent or not very prominent. So wouldn't any bolt action 3006 would be great.
And in a air gun, what's your favorite air gun? Do you like a PCP rifle or you like a CO2 pistol? I think you have SIG SOR.
I have a 6 hour extra in CO2.
Yes.
Um,
What is it? What's your favorite?
uh, again, like no, for every gun has got its own charm and everything. So I'm again very much partial to Glocks.
Yes, Glock.
I am in CO2. I am very much keen on CZ PO9.
Okay.
Because it's got good power,
Yes.
it's got good accuracy, it's got
BB and pellet thing. And they have a very good recoil. See, because the feeling is good. Also, I was trained on CZ P75. So it just makes me a bit nostalgic also. So CZ P09 is something which I like. But again, PCPs, the PX100 of Pressy Hole Yes.
is amazing. I mean, it's thanks to Doctor.
Yes.
I mean, he literally gave an affordable
PCP rifle.
hands of a person like us,
Us.
or rather, for I would talk about myself.
Yes.
Um, he literally gave an amazing weapon that we had dreamt of, or longed for, or wished for all these years. So a PX100 is something I would always love.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I get an even if I get an even if somebody gives me an FX,
Yeah.
or for that matter Wolverine, Daystate, whatever,
Yes.
I would still retain my PX100 forever.
Forever. So YPCC sir, let's hope a Bharat Ratan goes to you. Yeah, let us and every gun lover. So YPCC sir, if you say we are proposing a Bharat Ratan for Isa. Every gun lover in India is there voting for you, sir. Sir, yes, sir. And yeah, it is like a dream come true. It's so simple, so amazing, and you think at the price, I think it is a dream come true for every Indian.
Yeah, yeah.
At a world class level, and
So actually, upper class level, I believe they're selling it to with air arms in UK.
yes, they have started doing international work as well. So they have I know. In fact, I had a pleasure of sitting with him, and it was like, hey, how you hit it? I had spent some time with him on camera and off camera, and it was like a dream come true with all the affordability and everything. You have said, apart from the weapon, you said there's a lot of things that is involved, from physical fitness to the martial art and karate and everything. And you have your own fair share of what we call experience in karate or martial art. Can you just throw some light on how it is important for PMC or someone like a security person like you? What role do martial art play in that?
Uh, First thing is, I would say martial arts is very important, not just for PMCs or security. But martial art is very important for everything that you do in the life.
Yeah.
Is what I would say. Because firstly, the discipline, the perseverance, the tactical is a way of thinking, but that not just tactical way of thinking, the actual way of thinking, how you should think in any kind of situation, uh, mental agility, physical fitness, all these things, you develop in a martial art to such an extent that it is, I would say, it is must for everyone in every walk of life, and for PMCs or for security work, it is, or for tactical shooting also for that matter, it is very much essential. Because, like they say, like even my instructor used to teach us, martial art gives you that way of thinking of creating a window of opportunity to shoot or to bring down firepower upon your opponent. That gives you very the martial arts training. Even if you are not trained in shooting
Yes.
or tactical shooting, martial arts, a martial artist will pick it up
In a
way quicker.
than a layman.
And again, like I said, problem solving ability and all those things comes as quickly to a martial artist
And then done and then
one who has not learned. Having said that, no, every martial art has got its own charm.
Okay.
So I would say learn any martial art. Do learn.
So for me, the martial art, the only experience or exposure that I had was watching Fool and Kate where Ajay Devgan used to. And then I think every teen has a wild dream of, breaking a brick with his hand. And I was very close. I ended up breaking his hand in the return. Or that, or training to punch a wall with his bare hand. But you had a certain kind of martial art. I think it was a Sokoto karate or
Sotokan karate.
yeah.
So what had happened was again, thanks to people like Ajay Devgan, Sunil Shetty, Akshay Kumar, a whole lot of generation was inspired by these stalwarts. Of course, they themselves are very well trained, and um, of course, in cinemas you have to take cinematic liberty.
Yes, exactly.
But then that apart, fortunately, in my locality there was a martial arts school in which they used to teach Shotokan karate. So that is where I naturally got into.
Yeah.
That is how I actually started with my martial arts training. So trained over for a while, and then as I was exposed to boxing in college times, since boxing is a Olympic sport, I played boxing till state level. Got exposed to the amateur boxing in a very big way. Fortunately, I had a good coach in my locality again, who exposed me to quite a lot of boxing championships. So that gave me a good lot of combat experience. Um, and again, after that, fortunately, I was exposed to quite a few martial art instructors. This Shifu Kanishka Sharma, who's a he's a very good martial artist in India. Who's a grandmaster level martial art in about 8 martial arts. And fortunately, in India, we have such people who in fact happens to train quite a lot of special forces also. So, and I was fortunate
To get
get trained
get as an English to
such a great
guy.
teacher, great person. There's Mr. Aditya Roy, who's also a martial artist into many martial arts. And thankfully, because of people like him, I was exposed to the grandmaster of a martial art called Pekiti Tarshia Kali, um, which is a Filipino martial art. And the grandmaster is still alive, thankfully. That's it. So I got to interact with him. That was like one of the greatest things that happened to me. Then I also got thanks to these martial artists, I got exposed to a martial art called Sanatan Shastravidya. Now that is an ancient Indian martial art. In fact, it has its origin right from the divinity. Shiva, Mahadev Shiva himself taught it to Vishnu and Lord Parshurama and Lord Agastya and all that. And then it came down to all that. Now, the last practicing master of Sanatan Shastravidya is Gurudev Nidar Singh Niham. Thanks to Aditya sir, I was exposed to him. Got an opportunity to learn from him and to explore the world of martial art, how deep, how wide, how big it is, how interesting it is, how profound it is, I would say. So, as I like my instructor always told me, I never stop learning.
Yeah.
So whenever I got an opportunity, I went on to these masters and got took training from them.
I can totally understand where your physical fitness and the mind setup is coming from. And since you mentioned about the Asian culture or Indian culture and now the modern tactics of the combat, so do you see there is a kind of a overlap between that we had knowledge that we with us and with the modern combat? Do you see some kind of overlap in between, and did you see some kind of similarity in both of them? Of our modern combat system or a modern technique of combat and our Indian combat system? Do you see some kind of overlap in them, or do you see any similarity in both of them?
Uh, I mean, yes, I mean, having gone through Krav Maga and all that. So, philosophies of now, what has happened is every martial art has came up as a need to fight. Okay, in a specific scenario or in a specific culture, or in a specific geographic locality. So, the martial arts, of course, the art is the knowledge is the same.
Yes.
One and the only same. The people have been influenced and what do you call influenced and adapted according to their. So there are a lot of similarities in many things, and also differences are there, but there are a lot of similarities in traditional Indian martial arts also, and like it's exactly in Sanatan Shastra Vidya. There are a lot of forms in Sanatan Shastra Vidya which you can correlate to various modern day martial arts. So there are
Yeah, there are traces behind that, and you know what? Since the kind of thing that you do, it requires a certain kind of physical fitness. But do you see that it is overhyped, or now the nowadays people are on steroid, on juices, trying to build muscle? Is it only the muscle or only the body that you require for this kind of physical fitness, or it is more of a mental thing? I will be very honest because I wanted to ask you a very raw question, because nowadays what I see is that people are overhyping a certain thing. When I see a military guy or a Indian Army people, they have a very raw kind of physique. They believe in running and doing practical stuff, whereas maybe some people that nowadays are trying to do is that are trying to get a very lean and a physique body of the all juiced up with the steroid and things like that. Uh, how do you see that that kind of body is required, or is it always a raw thing that you need? And is it the body thing is overhyped? What is your take on that?
uh, overhyped. I would very much say
Yes.
overhyped. Okay, because one thing, what is artificial is by its name artificial.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now Arnold Schwarzenegger himself has written an encyclopedia.
Yes.
In
I have it actually.
this, no, so you must have read one thing. Now again, overhyping, like there is a myth that to become a bodybuilder, you have to have a non-vegetarian diet.
Yeah.
Now Arnold himself has written ways of having vegetarian diet and becoming a bodybuilder. A bodybuilder is the peak of developing muscles or physique. Um, but of course, that is for a particular purpose. Okay, your physical fitness has to serve certain purpose.
Yes.
Okay, now physical fitness requirement for a 70-year-old person and a 23-year-old person, both working normally in normal life, are again different. And again, for a person who's employed by armed forces or who's into PMCs or securities or that kind of thing, is again different.
Yeah.
So they used to tell us, this was one of the myths that my instructor had dispelled in the beginning. We are not gym junkies wearing suits. Bodyguarding is not that. Which, unfortunately, for that we have a term here in India and maybe outside in the world also. We call them bouncers.
Yes.
So a bouncer is a pumped up person who's just that he has his purpose.
Yes, he has his purpose
But
in certain way.
yeah, uh, but again, that's what I'm saying. So these things have been an overhyped to an extent, to the extent of I would say even the whole thinking has mutated in that way. The steroids and abuse of certain drugs has been it's a mutation, I would say.
Yeah.
So
So, since we are talking about raw physical fitness and stuff, and that is required, and certain kind of agility that is required to do certain tasks, and I think for my life it was through NCC, and I'm sure that anyone who goes through NCC has a huge impact. I would like to take a moment and talk about NCC. How does you have already mentioned it, but I would like to uh, re-ask, or let's talk about NCC.
Yeah.
what was your experience, and do you think that it is a very crucial, if you can in your life, if you are in college, if you are in a school, and if there is NCC, I will literally beg you to go and join it.
Exactly.
This will change your life and a way of thinking. How do you think that it is very crucial for student, and if possible, it should be mandatory for everyone?
I would rather say that it should be mandatory. Yes, like people nowadays are talking about compulsory military service. I would say forget about military service. At least make NCC compulsory.
Yes.
Now, I would say the some of the best years of my life, some of the best years of my life were in NCC. Ah, it was amazing. I mean, uh, apart from my personal liking, which was into combat, tactical, and armed forces, and all that thing, which exposed me to it, the tremendous advantages that an NCC trained cadet has in all the walks of life or his work life are amazing. The way an NCC trained guy can be in a team as an individual to achieve certain tasks in any kind of situation is unparalleled.
Yes.
I mean, that can be paralleled by people only from armed forces.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you're getting, like you said, अगर college में है and if you're not enrolling, so
Yeah.
you don't know what you're missing.
What you are missing?
So, like, I just one example, I mean, one memory. In my first year in NCC, there was a vacancy only for uh, 48 or 50 amongst us to be taken in.
Yes.
And on the very first day, there were close to around 188 people who had turned up for the
NCC
selection.
procedure.
Now, for the seniors, it was very clear कि इतने रहेंगे नहीं. But to their surprise, after lot of screenings, and the screening is very
So they take it very seriously.
lot of screening.
Yes.
Uh, Still, many of us didn't drop out to the extent that even after completion of 1 year, there were close to around 74, 75 people or cadets who were still were being there as a first year. Now, after that, of course, so that was the level that time. And over a period of time, in between, what I saw was even the allotted vacancies for my unit were not fulfilled, which was very depressing for me to see.
Yes.
Uh, I mean, इतना opportunity मिल रहा है और तुम कर नहीं रहे हो, मतलब what a waste.
Yes, exactly. And I think that NCC can be used for, because we were at conflict with Pakistan recently, and you know, I think that having a NCC and a trained youth in our country can, maybe not for war, but for when you're required certain help, I think they can be a very good help, or
Very, very, very much.
can play a, just imagine a country with a lot of youth are trained in this tactical and firearms and the safety and other things. So firearms is a very small part of NCC. They trained you in a physical fitness and then teamwork and moving stuff. Because I was trained in Punjab in the 3 Punjab battle. We were trained in a very different way. They used to treat us just like a army, Jaman, and the making all the fences, digging hole and carrying all the sand, stuff like that. Putting, every night we used to guard as the army. So it is as you are working in a military, and it can be a great help in the condition, like if some kind of conflict is going on, it can be a great help for internal security, and they can be used by army as well.
Very much so. While the inception of
Yes.
NCC, that was also one of the thought which was behind the
Yes.
inception of NCC. So imagine again in tactical shooting,
Yes.
if a person, a civilian
Yes.
trained in tactical shooting, or a person who had been through shooting training in NCC, imagine some kind of scenario happens, unfortunately, something like Pahalgam that happened there. Now, the terrorists were not expecting anyone
Yes.
over there
To fight back.
to fight back. Now, imagine if a random person fights back from any weapon that he or she has. Of course, the outcome might be different.
Yes.
because of course they're way better trained. They're trained just for that.
Yes, and
They're just for this.
yeah, they are there for a certain mission.
But imagine the chaos in the mind of a terrorist when he or she is not he is not expecting
A fight back.
a fight back, and that would have happened. And imagine if there would have been many such. So the scenario might have been way different.
Uh, so there is a quote or something sounds something like this, that only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. There's a very popular video from a very a long back on internet. If you go, so there is a guy who tries to rob a store, and there are 26 people who shoots it. So it's a popular Texas joke, but this is but anyone who's watching this video and he or she may be in NCC in school or college, and they want to build their career in a high security, what we call it, a service or high risk security or a PMC, what kind of advice will you give to the person?
Uh, Thing is, first thing, if you're doing NCC, I mean that's
No, the limit. Yeah, it's good enough.
I mean that's the. Of course, in recent days, I don't know what all things they're teaching.
Yes.
Or how developed it is in various. But from what I can see, mostly from social media, I do visit my unit very rarely. But what I can hear from them, um, they're fairly doing a good job in training in NCC. But if you're training in NCC, uh, also one thing, do not neglect your basic education.
Yes.
It is not either or. It is not an option.
Yeah. Is this a myth?
I mean, if you are a very good cadet and if you fail in your college, you won't even remain a cadet.
Yes.
Okay. So, one advice that I would, again, people, there are a lot of enthusiasts who are fascinated and who want to join armed forces. Also, fine, do NCC. Also, pay equal attention to your studies and all the things that you are expected to do at your age.
Yes.
Do all these things. Okay. Because these are certain misconceptions in the minds of lot many students that मैंने एनसीसी कर लिया अब तो मेरा करियर सेट है मैं तो फौजी बन गया मैं तो तारे लग गए कंधे पे just won't go with that misconception.
Yes.
Secondly, along with NCC, you define your aim and research and find out what all things need to be done, to be learnt, to be implemented to achieve your aim, and also focus on that judiciously, I would say.
Yes.
ये नहीं कि एक ही चीज करना है तो उसी से मेरा सब कुछ हो जाने वाला है. So learn, like I said, always keep learning.
Yeah, keep learning and keep so what all you require for the certain kind of things. If you have an aim, you want to get into armed forces and stuff like that, you need to learn basic thing is you require your education to be done. You cannot fail in your exam. For me, I was when I was doing my RD camp, I was in 10th class and I had a day. So I had to do 6 camps in my 10th. Because just imagine the family pressure I had to go through. But and so you said learn, and for even for the PMC, you require a certain kind of soft skill apart from the weapon and tactical training, like communication, planning, leadership, and a lot of things. Can you just guide us what kind of soft skills do you require for this PMC work apart from the guns and everything or physical fitness?
Soft skills is
One thing one thing when I see is that you require a certain kind of awareness that you are talking about. That you enter a room and you know where's the exit, where can be a threat. But other than that, what exactly soft skills you need? I can imagine when you are with very HNI or some person, there are things that you don't have to hear or you should not hear, or maybe you should have to maintain a certain distance. So I have no, what we call it, first-hand experience of whatever VIP security. Can you just guide me to a layman? What are the scenarios and what you have to go through in that situation?
okay. So two things. Firstly, the very most obvious part is the tactical training or the mindset that you spoke about. It does come from a lot many things like martial arts and certain there are certain nowadays a lot of courses are available all over the world.
Yes.
So that you can do. However, I would rather say
Yes.
develop and inculcate a habit of reading.
Yes.
Because you have to understand cultures, various cultures, when you are into VIP protection. Okay. From that, you will understand what is ethical, legal, or where is the root of that legality coming from in that particular locality or that region.
Yes.
Okay. Or how a person or a community might react in certain scenarios,
Certain
at
scenarios.
certain location.
Yes.
So you need to understand the cultures, the people in certain locations. So how you do that? I mean, nowadays, so
No.
YouTube and all that is there. I mean, you can watch videos, but more than watching videos, uh, I would rather say inculcate a habit of reading
No.
and learning.
Yes.
Okay. Have a what another thing that learning does is, or reading does is, it broadens your outlook.
Yes.
So you can understand and assimilate the cultures or what the other person is thinking in a totally different culture. So that is very much important.
Okay. So if you are not, you don't got, if you have no idea what he was talking, for example, that every area, specific area has a certain kind of no zone. For example, uh, in Punjab, so policeman can do anything. They can literally do, they can bash you and thing. But when it comes to, going to Gurdwara, they have to maintain a certain decorum. And people can get offended, So if you remember 1984, so there is a big, first, people are still mad about that. So, for example, if you go, so for example, in a UP or what we call it, Bihar, maybe people will treat a policeman or a DM like a god, and they will, fear from them. But if they enter a temple or a certain religious place with the shoes on, the same people can be bashed. So you have to understand that certain area has a certain no, and certain area they have a different. They react to things in a very different manner. So, for example, in Haryana, they treat the women in a very different manner. So they can get furious in a very different way. You cannot enter the house without a even for the when it goes for a whole country.
If I can give you a very small example, there are way certain things work in certain country.
Yes.
I mean, it is not just for work, but even if you go there as a tourist,
Yes.
you have to be mindful of their culture.
Yes.
Now, uh, in certain places, uh, like in South Africa,
Yes.
when I'd been to a location, uh, to get your things done,
Yes.
if you assert your authority over there,
Yeah.
then they can also show
They are not hurt.
how their authority.
They are authority.
So the way of getting things done over there, you have to be very pally and friendly with people down the line over there
Yes.
who get the things done.
Done for you.
So uh, if you know that, now I had known that because of my academy, of course,
Yes.
but that worked very well. And of course, we work that way in India also.
Yes, always.
So that thing was there. It was in.
We are known for our jugars. I think Indians can operate and work in a different region, and that's the reason you see if you go abroad in almost every country you will find an Indian working there, and
You know what exactly? Like certain. I mean, we people in Indian continent, Indian subcontinent, specifically in India also, we would make way too good PMCs.
yes, yes,
We have got everything that is required to be very good PMCs.
PMCs.
Only thing is we don't venture out.
Yes, maybe or maybe soon. The I've seen few people are picking up on this, and so next is a rapid fire round. You don't have to give me a very political answer or this or that. Few of them I've already asked you, but what's your favorite firearm and why? You don't have to think. Just one. I already know the answer, but you can just say it again.
P30, amazing engineering.
One. Best martial art for a real world protection.
Oh, PTK.
Okay. Plinking or a Benchrest.
Oh, Plinking.
Most intense moment on a mission.
Oh, oh, I mean, the one which I had gone through.
Yes, of course.
Uh, Once when we felt there was an attack on principle.
Okay. A, a living legend you want to get trained with, or in a real life who's still there, and you have a dream to get trained under work with in abroad, anywhere in the world, in martial art or in any firearms, martial art, or any kind of training? No, I'm sure you must have a goal to get, do things, or you must have a checklist in your mind of bucket list.
There are many.
I want just one. That's the hard part.
Uh, I would love to. I would love to train with GT once again, Grand Tuhan, Leo T. Gahe Jr. Or Shifu Kanishka Sharma also. Uh, I love to train with him.
So now it was very nice talking to you. I will wrap this up. I have a few questions yet. I will take few 5 to 10 minutes. What is your vision? So it should be very much. I don't want you to be very politically or legalities to get involved. I want a pure and a very honest conversation with you. What are your vision for private shooting, a private security, and a shooting sports in India for next 5 to 10 years? How will you like to have, uh, what's your vision? How do you want PMC to work in India?
Uh, okay, I mean,
Okay. So for example, just you have an authority, so whatever you think will reshape in India. For example, you have a such a
okay, my wish.
yeah, your wish, your vision. How do you envision, or you have a vision for a private security for next 5 to 10 years in India?
Okay, so if it would have been me, uh, firstly, I talk about shooting first.
Let's say private security. How will you like private security?
For private security, uh, I would rather say institutionalize and strictly enforce high level of training.
Yes.
And make it available very widely.
Yes.
For security, which would involve everything, including tactical shooting,
Yes.
soft skills, and all the other things. But institutionalize it, regulate it, and strictly enforce it, and make it widely available. Now, just to give you one fact figure, security industry is one of the biggest and one with the highest growth rate industry in India.
Yes.
So, if you have that kind of force interested with that level of important job, might as well have that level of training facilities and structure in place, which will be available to everybody.
Yes.
So that is one thing I would definitely would love to have in India.
I would like to say that, I would like to add, maybe that the top guys in India have a good security and a good structured form or a training. But apart from the top person, if you see regular security guards in India, although on paper you need to have this fire drill and everything, they are clueless. They have no understanding. I was somewhere and there was a fire broke in the building. The security guards were clueless. The people were clueless to how to, even they had this fire alarm and everything. They are clueless. They don't know how to operate. When it comes to the tactical shooting, forget tactical shooting. If you see a guy sitting at the ATM with a firearm, I highly doubt that, he can even reload it. And if his gun was even oiled. So, let me be very frank. I think there requires a lot of training, and uh, annual training should be enforced to them. I see that, no use of a security guy if at an emergency he is of no use. You know,
So I would rather say it has to be both ways. One, it has to be enforced,
Yes.
and second, it has to be so affordable that everybody would want to do it on their own.
Yeah, of course, there is no infrastructure. So the reason they are not trained is because we don't have an infrastructure. We don't, and for the infrastructure, there is no regulation. There is no regulation. So we don't.
The regulation, but it is not enforced. That's, I would say, enforcement and encouragement.
Correct. Encouragement. So I think the encouragement is the key word right here. And how do you all like to see the shooting sports game in India?
To flourish in all possible ways.
Yes.
Like I would say, sport shooting has got its own what do you call it,
Charm.
and it has to be. I mean, it is very well developed. Right?
Yes, sir.
It has to keep developing that way.
Yeah, we are doing great. Let's say that we are doing great when it comes to sports shooting.
And we should keep doing the great thing.
Yes.
But apart from that, I believe for shooting, plinking, benchresting, airsofting, CO2 air gunning is something I would love to grow at a massive level simply because the urge of a common person in shooting needs to be tapped and molded very
responsibly. I think that the airsoft, so you mentioned airsoft. So the issue with the airsoft is that India, we don't even recognize the airsoft word. So if you go to the other, yeah, so there is no airsoft. So someone who is trying to get their hands on airsoft, they actually cannot get it because it is a 6 mm and now the law may make it. So there is a lot of work to get it done right there. So I think if we have more of that and there's more training, it can mold it in a very right way, in a very responsible way to, once you put your hand on a CO2 or a airsoft gun, you will always be responsible while handling a real firearm. So we have a long journey in that way.
And you know what? That actually, I have seen. I had played paintball airsoft at other places. So, in which I had seen one thing. They are so responsible. Now, safety gear is mandatory when you are in the field. And there were people who were cleaning the field, and there were players who were shouting and screaming at that cleaner also to wear your safety mask, even if you're cleaning. Because you put it into their minds. So that kind of so imagine that kind of responsible thought process coming into
Real
firearms. So that is the dream state that I would love to see.
So you have a dream, and I'm sure government has their own dream, and a civilian or someone has their own dream, corporate has their own dream. How do you think that everyone can come together and create a consciousness and a secure environment for the firearms and everything?
You know what? Of all these entities you spoke about, they are made perfectly in such a way that those are just like blocks. If you shuffle them in such a way and if they fall, they very much like get into place and become one solid thing to achieve that purpose. They are made in that way. Okay. Only thing is, maybe there must be something which is keeping these blocks from coming together and aligning the way they should align. So, basically, if people feel, people develop that kind of culture, the government feels, and the corporate comes together. So, there would be a very, very, very ideal kind of scenario for a very fruitful gun ownership or shooting scenario in India.
So I'm sure that you must have some project, on the line, or some kind of training camps or missions that you are particularly excited about, and people who want to be part of it. Is there something for someone who wants to get trained with you, or is there something surprise for all of us?
Surprise in the sense, I won't reveal it simply because then it won't be a surprise.
Yes,
But then
and something is in the line training.
I'm definitely thinking of doing some thing in shooting.
Yes,
But in the meanwhile,
yes,
uh, because for that level to come,
yes.
I would urge people to uh, get involved in some things like plinking, bench resting, or something like this, the arena shooting.
Yes.
Just so that you become a responsible person
Yeah.
whom we can train.
Okay.
Okay. Like for in short, I'm not saying that I'm thinking of tactical shooting, but then uh, self-defense shooting.
Yes.
A gun owner who can shoot for his own defense.
Yes.
For that level, for that thing to be done, firstly, the person has to be actually properly trained
Yes.
to be a responsible gun owner. So, if I would rather say more of plinking, more of airsoft gunning
Yeah.
in arenas like this,
Yes.
more of these should come up,
Yeah.
and then we can pan it out or max it out into tactical shooting.
So I would like to add that every trainer or someone who is specialist in this, I would like to request, if you can, two things that needs to be done is one, is weapon training. So India has roughly, let's say, 30 lakh people who owns a firearm, more than that. Yeah, that was an old figure. More than might be more than that. Yeah, more than that or less. So 30 lakh to 40 lakh people owns a firearm in India, and very few of them, apart from the people who has a armed forces or a police background, very few of them can actually use it in a proper way. So there should be a huge and a large scale training that should go, where people at least once a year you take out your weapon, you load it, you check it, and you actually try to shoot it in a good environment and in a very secure place. There should be a training. Plus, people who are buying a air gun, or the people who owns a CO2 air gun or a PCP air gun or a air rifles, they should undergo some kind of training or of weapon safety training, where they should know how to, because when I see people handling a weapon in a very disrespectful way and or a filmy way, or damaging the weapon, even they use it in a very rough way and using it in a very irresponsible way, it is very bad for the community. So some people who are very serious and they love guns, you are doing a lot of harm to them.
Yeah.
And so you need to be very responsible. And I think there should be a lot of camps around where you teach them, or a workshop kind of thing.
Or at least places like this.
Yes.
Like I've seen certain ranges out there in the broad, where you can go, pay certain amount and shoot to your heart content whenever you want to, not just annually, whenever you want to. So more of such things or such facilities
Should be there, where you can actually go and you pay and you learn. So that once you go for one time and you get excited, then you can go for the next time. So whenever I go to Thailand, I go to Abu Dhabi. Exactly. Like, I spend, like, at least yearly, if I go with the family, I try to escape and then go and I fire there. And first of all, thank you so much for coming, sir. If someone who wants to build a career in PMC, or they are interested into training, how do they reach you? How can they reach you, and they contact you? Or are you available on social media, or are you available to to help other people, or you are very secret like John Wick and no, he can approach you and you are an unapproachable person?
no, the thing is, no, not much of a secrecy in that. But the thing is, nowadays lot many things are available on internet.
Yeah.
I am there to guide them. Only thing is, I'm preoccupied. I'm way too preoccupied.
Yes.
But then I would rather say, if genuinely interested people would want to, I mean, I'm no one to guide them. Like I said, I'm
So the master.
but I can give my email ID.
Yeah, so the only reason I asked this question was, to tell you that sir is preoccupied. He is so busy, and he took time out of his busy schedule to, guide us. It was pleasure talking to you, sir. On the right, can sit down with you for days and days and talk. I'm sure you have brilliant stories and things to talk. So I tried to, ask you from a very different scenarios. I would love to talk to you on a very certain kind of thing like PMC. I can talk to you about PMC in a very long step. But thank you so much for coming to the show. I will mention sir's email ID in the description, just in case sir becomes very busy and he wants to get it removed. I don't want all of you to spam, sir, because and thank you so much for staying. If you watched the whole video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share it with your friend, and be a responsible gun user. It will be good for the community. And thank you so much. I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being. I have a small gift for you. It's not this is just something. This is
a very big gift.
It's not big. It's just a token of love. I want to gift it to you. Just very much. This is the only reason I give it, because I can take a picture and I can keep it as a memory that I met.
No, we would definitely love it. And thank you so much for having me over here.
It was so nice.
Was the pleasure was completely mine, I would say, sir.
Thank you.